Welcome to Aiken Business Matters. We are very delighted today to have Miss Julie Whitesell with Meybohm Realtors. She is the broker in charge at the Lawrence Street office at 124 Lawrence in downtown Aiken. And I'll have to just tell you right away that I know Julie very, very well. So I'm going to ask her some questions, and it feels really funny asking her things that I know the answer to, but I want all of you to know the answers to them too. So welcome today. And Julie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Good. First of all, I want people to understand and know who you are, who Julie Whitesell is, and what you bring to this community is awesome. And I want to share that too as we get into this. But just give people a little bit of your history and your family background here in Aiken.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Aiken, so I'm an Aikenite. But my parents aren't from here. My dad is from Pennsylvania.
Right.
And my mother is actually from South Georgia and Florida. And my dad worked for Owens Corning Fiberglass, so that's kind of what brought him to Aiken.
Right. Well, tell them.
Yeah.
And
my dad's Jim and Carolyn Moore.
Yeah.
And so he was very involved in the community in general when he would move here, and they kept having to move back and forth to Ohio and Aiken. And he would be back in Ohio, but flying home to be in a play at the Playhouse or something. So they ended up, once they moved back to Aiken, they decided they wanted to stay. So the last time they made their move back to Aiken was about 2 weeks before I was born. And then I grew up in the house they lived in Fox Chase for 36 years. So
wow.
Anyway.
You know, there are a lot of people that have roots in Aiken whose parents or grandparents were from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
My grandfather and grandmother were from the Pittsburgh area.
Nice.
They moved to Charlotte, and then
ended up here.
My dad ended up down here. No, they still stayed in Charlotte, but Dad ended up here with Graniteville Company years ago. So I guess you talk to people enough, there's so many commonalities. And of course, you know I grew up in Aiken too. So
that's neat. Well, my dad's from 2 hours north of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Near Erie, like
right.
St. Mary's, Kersey area, so in the middle of nowhere. So,
wow.
So I'm glad we grew up here.
What kind of things did you do growing up?
Oh, I had so much fun. We loved playing in the neighborhood in Fox Chase, and you know, Dad would always, you know, the Youngs lived there in the shell houses, and that we would all play. And whenever it was time to go home, he'd just whistle, and everybody would know it was time to go back home and have dinner. And so, you know, playing a lot with our childhood friends, and of course, I grew up in the church. My dad and Mom were both youth counselors at St. John's, which is, you know, where Patsy and Neil are. So I grew up at St. John's in the church, and even though I wasn't old enough to go to the youth program, I tagged along because they were there. So it's funny how that's part of my life now too. But doing that and following Dad, you know, if he was at the Playhouse, we were there too. So I kind of got a love for theater from that. But just loved being in Aiken, and it's so cool now that, you know, growing up in Aiken Estates where I am, I grew up in Fox Chase, but being in Aiken Estates now, my kids, you know, love to play in the neighborhood and run across the street. So it's a lot like how I grew up for my
How many
kids.
children do you have?
I have two. Baxter, he just turned 6 last week, and Shyla, she's 3. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is. Well, having them grow up in a town like Aiken gives you a lot of, I bet, a sense of pride, knowing that they're going to be able to do some of the same things, see some of the same things, and be some of the same places you were at that age. So
it's awesome. My parents, they sold their house in Fox Chase about a year ago, and you know, I can remember being so emotional walking through the house, and you know, you could have a memory in every room because they lived there my whole life. But the great thing is they moved across the street. So they live across the street, and my brother lives next door to them. So my husband Jimmy, he actually likes it.
Tell everybody what Jimmy does.
Jimmy, he is the youth director at St. John's United Methodist Church.
How about that?
So we started, I guess, when Neil left to. When he started his own ministry, being a minister and getting ordained, Jimmy and I, he had just moved to Aiken, and we started just volunteering and helping with the youth group. And from that, he became the assistant director and now is the director. But he's not a minister, but he is a director of the program.
Well, I know that that gives you a great deal of satisfaction, and that, and I'm certain all those that worked with you when you were in the youth program look back with a sense of pride and saying, "Wow, that's a neat transition to see somebody come up through the ranks and then be a part of the program."
So there's so many. Those youth are amazing, and there's so many youth there now whose parents were in youth with me. So and now they're counselors too, and it's fun. And the cool thing is we started a program called The Grove, and it's for children that are 4K through 6th grade until the 6th graders start their confirmation, and then they join the youth. But it's a great way. I now work with the children program rather than the youth, but my kids are in it. And so Shyla's not yet because she's not in 4K. But anyway, so it's a program that gets those kids used to coming every Sunday night from 6 to 7:30, so that it'll keep them involved and get them in the youth. So it's fun.
Aiken's very lucky. They've got a lot of our churches in the community have some wonderful youth programs.
They do.
And those are the kind of programs that when people invest their children in it, that it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving through the years. It's a great way to develop children and give them good responsibility and things like that.
Well, I got to say, your sister Patsy and Neil, I mean, they were just instrumental in my faith and part of my growing up. So.
Well, they're pretty neat people. I don't tell her enough probably, but you're exactly right, Julie. Tell us what your mother used to do.
Well, my mom, she's done a lot of different things, but she's always been involved in real estate in some ways. So she has been a paralegal for attorneys and that do practice real estate law, and then she was a mortgage lender for 17 years. And then she became the broker in charge of the real estate shop, which eventually joined with Meybohm, and so she's the broker in charge of the Meybohm Southside office.
Wow, and you're the broker in charge. So y'all are bookends?
Yes, well, in Aiken.
Yes.
We have 7 offices in the CSRA, so I recently was named the broker in charge of the downtown office, and she is at the south side.
I don't think that most people really realize how many different offices you folks have and what a large area. Tell us, what area does Meybohm cover?
Well, Meybohm covers all of Augusta, North Augusta and Aiken, and then surrounding areas, Edgefield, Barnwell, Johnston. We are we're an awesome company. It's such a pleasure to work with them, and they're a family, and it's a locally owned, locally grown company. E.G. Meybohm is the owner and lives in Augusta and is from Augusta, and it's such a faithful company and such a, we're just family, and we're not a franchise. We are members of leading real estate companies of the world, which is an international network of independently owned companies. So, and you're invited to be a part of it. So
it's an honor to be a part of that.
It is.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You have not always been in Aiken. I know you lived in other parts of the United States. Where else did you live other than Aiken?
I started school at the College of Charleston.
Okay.
But I didn't finish there. When I was home for Christmas break, Elliot Epps, I saw him at number 10 Downing Street when it was still here, and he invited me to join him in City Year, which is an urban Peace Corps that began under the Bush administration and was kind of the parent program for AmeriCorps. So I moved to Boston.
Did that come out of the 1,000 lights that he came out with, that Bush came out with?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I couldn't promise you that. But so it was a really cool program. I lived in Boston and worked in South Boston with elementary school children. It's a program for people ages 17 to 23 from all walks of life. So there were people working there that were senators' children, and there were people there that had the choice to, they might have to go to jail or they might be working there. I mean, It was really cool, and it taught me a lot about interacting with others. So I worked in an elementary school in South Boston, and then on the weekends we did a program called Young Heroes, where we took 8th graders and they did community service throughout Boston. So when I got back home, I finished school at USC Aiken. But I also, at one point in my life, lived in New York, in Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I moved there with Brooke Lundy. After we did the show Tony and Tina's Wedding with Mark Nasser, who's Jim Victor's cousin. We started going up there about once a month, writing a play with him. So we just moved there.
So
yeah, I only lived there for 6 months.
Yeah, I did not know that that two of Aiken's wonderful music talents lived together.
We did.
Oh, wow.
Brooke was there much longer than me. I came back after about 6 months. I had gone to Salkehatchie over the summer. Came home for 2 weeks, and one of those weeks I went to Salkehatchie, which I've been going to since I was 14.
Now tell our viewers what that is.
Salkehatchie is a summer work camp, a Methodist camp, but anyone from any religion can come. But there's about over 40 camps in South Carolina and a couple in North Carolina, and you rebuild homes for a week. So it's a youth program, and then there are adult leaders, and you just kind of, through faith and God's work, you go and rebuild homes for them.
So it's kind of like Habitat for Humanity on steroids with the youth event too.
Yep, so Habitat starts from the ground up, and Salkehatchie, you actually go rebuild what's existing.
Right.
So you're really trying to make sure they have a roof over their head, dry roof, floors that aren't falling through. I can remember when we used to build outhouses.
Wow.
And that's right here in South Carolina. And there's actually a camp in Aiken, too.
Yeah. I don't think people realize that there's so many opportunities out there if you just look. When folks say that their children are bored because they don't have anything to do in the summer, there are an awful lot of opportunities if people just look.
That's true.
Yeah, and you made a good point in the fact that I know that Salkehatchie's always been open to any youth that really wanted to participate in it.
Absolutely.
And that their family was good with it. So.
Yep, you have to be 14 before the camp starts, and then go on from there. So I've been going since I was 14, and Jimmy, my husband, started when he was 14 too. But he went to the same camp as me, but he turned 14 the week of the camp. So the camp director sent him home, but he came back the next year, and we've been going to the same camp still today.
So would you say you developed your relationship there?
Yes, but we didn't like each other. We didn't realize that we liked each other until I came home from New York. And so I moved back here in September and married him the next year.
How about that? That's very interesting. Let me, you're carrying on the tradition of your dad with the acting and singing part of it, and that kind of artistic bent, and you're, so far as your business world, you're doing, following in your mother's footsteps, or high heels, I guess, maybe, whichever one would apply. And I know what a broker in charge is, I think, but tell us what a broker in charge really does.
Well, a broker in charge is basically responsible for the actions of the agents in our office. So I'm the manager of the downtown office, and I'm responsible for everything that my agents do. So I have to make sure that they're following the law and the code of ethics, and make sure that we have any appropriate paperwork. I'm there to keep them happy, to train them, and make sure they know what our current laws are. Train any new agents that come, and encourage them in their business. So it's really, I can feel the weight of the responsibility. I said earlier, whenever they ask me a question, because I want to make sure that we are, providing the best service to our agents so that they can provide the best service to our clients and customers that are,
when you
buying real estate.
When you first got in the real estate business, you were working with your sister-in-law, was that right?
Yeah, well, when I first started, it was just me.
Just you.
And Ruth Alexander was so great to help train me, Vicki Crossland. I mean, any of those agents in the Meybohm office, it's a great place for agents to learn. They're all willing to stop what they're doing and help in any way. Gail Gingrey was very good at that.
A lot of tenure in that office.
Yes, that's how we became Meybohm. It was the top-selling real estate company, the real estate shop was in Aiken, and Meybohm is the top-selling in Augusta, North Augusta, so we were natural to join forces. But I started out in real estate and did new homes and things like that, and then Emily was my assistant for a while, and then she she stopped selling. And right before I had Baxter, she got a real estate license again, and we joined forces and created an LLC, so our Aiken LLC. But eventually I left that, and she joined with Renee Pope. So
that's an interesting concept, and I see that more in Aiken than a lot of other
having
areas.
Teams?
Yeah, having the teams. How does that work?
It's actually a great thing, and real estate can be overwhelming because you want to be available to people all the time, and there's no way that you can be. I mean, and that's a hard thing. It's a really hard thing to learn, especially whether you're new or seasoned, is that, you have to make time for yourself so you can make time for others, and you have to create real estate, your business, it is a small business. You're an independent contractor. And so having someone available to cover for you when you're not there, is such a great thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many vacations I've missed, whether I did not go on them because a contract came in and I wanted to provide, service to my client, or when I was on vacation, but I wasn't present because I was on the phone the whole time. So it's a great thing to have a team where you can build a relationship with them and you split everything equally, and because everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. So when you have a team that can complement one another, it's a great thing, and it's an easier way to build your business, and so it works really well.
Well, I think Meybohm has certainly done a great job in taking the teamwork principle.
Yeah.
And you have a big team and then many teams inside the team.
We do. And we do have a lot of, honestly, teams that are LLCs,
Right.
The Riley and Sullivan team, and Aiken Homes and our Aiken. I mean, there's some awesome realtors there, all of them.
Well, as part of Meybohm, are you in charge of residential and commercial as well?
I'm not. I am the broker in charge of our downtown office.
Right.
We have 7 offices in the CSRA, so we have a new homes division, and Joe Todd is responsible for new homes.
He's in Augusta.
Yeah, he's in Augusta. John Chambers is kind of the head of all of residential sales,
Okay.
but he's currently also the broker in charge of our Wheeler Road office. Okay. And then Gray Meybohm, who is E.G.'s son, he's responsible for a couple of offices in Augusta, Evans in the South Augusta office. And then Carolyn of our South Side. And then there's Kay Renison, who's a broker for our property management. And then Lionel Prather is over commercial.
Well,
and development.
There's certainly somebody for everybody's need out there.
There is. And we have an awesome marketing department too. So.
Do you deal with raw land? Does Meybohm deal with land and market and develop that sort of thing?
Absolutely, we do. That's one of the great things about Meybohm is they recognize that real estate is more than just homes. I mean, real estate is an investment in your community. So we do have a development arm that does deal in raw land, and of course our agents are, a lot of my downtown agents deal with listing land. But as far as development of land, we do have a development arm to our office.
How about
that?
that?
So and we've done a lot of development in the area.
So if I'm coming in and I'm a businessman and I'm buying a piece of property and I'm going to build a building that I'm going to use, that's going to be my commercial site, and I also need to buy a home, then I've got a one-stop shop.
Absolutely. Yes, thanks, John.
All right.
Absolutely.
The opportunities for working in the area. How do you like working downtown?
I love it. I love it. And I love the Southside office too, and I enjoyed working there. But I've had the blessing of being able to live downtown. I rented an apartment above True Value when I was in college.
And your in-laws live downtown, don't they?
No, they live actually in Casey, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I live downtown. I owned a street on, home on Chesterfield.
Right, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
okay.
And I loved, being able to walk downtown and enjoy the small business and the restaurants. It's it's such a great feel here. And, Jimmy's right behind me, on the block behind me. So it's great that you can walk anywhere and enjoy everything we have to offer.
But, part of your job as broker in charge, you're in charge of marketing and things like that, and making sure that the best foot forward of a community is presented to potential clients and customers. What is the downtown area in any community? How important is that to a community?
I think it's vital. I mean, and we are so blessed that we have such a vibrant downtown. As a matter of fact, we had an event last night for our vice presidents of our company, which is it's actually the top 33% of our company. And we had an event actually at one of our listings in Woodside, 412 Spalding Lake. It's a beautiful property. And afterwards, John Chambers and Lionel Prather, their head of residential, head of commercial and development, and Dickie Boardman and his wife, and John Cates, who's our general counsel. I was talking to them today. They came downtown and went out to dinner at the Bradley at the new restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah, and John was
right in the alley.
Yeah, right in the alley. And so John Chambers was just telling me, he said he couldn't believe how vibrant it was on a Thursday night. He said it was so great that everybody was sitting outside. They were just really enjoying our downtown, and he loved seeing that. He was so impressed with how vibrant our community is. But it's the heart of Aiken, and when you have a downtown that is prospering, it spills out to everything else. So I think it's so important that we continue to build on that, that we have people living, working, and playing in our downtown. And we have that, but I do believe it could be even more. Yeah. So
I was at a meeting not too long ago, and I think you were at the same meeting, and one of the speakers that we had, Randy Wilson, who you know.
I love him.
Randy made the comment, and I hadn't thought about it in quite these terms, but he said, the heartbeat of every city is their downtown.
It is.
And I not thought about it quite like that, but it is. Everything else radiates from that city.
It does.
When you have a wonderful downtown, everything else builds up around it.
It really does.
And we're very fortunate. We have it's a very safe downtown. I hope they saw that too.
Yeah, it really is. You can feel, you feel good about walking around. Yeah. I never felt uncomfortable walking from my home on Chesterfield, to come downtown and hang out at, in the alley or somewhere. So.
Just as an aside, did you know, I didn't know this until recently, did you know that the public safety has several officers that they have, and that's all they do is make sure they keep downtown squared away. They make sure that everything's okay, and they know everybody downtown. Yeah. They make an opportunity to go in and speak to the different store owners and things like that. That you don't find that in every community.
You don't, and it's a great community. They really do keep our neighborhood safe, and if I've ever had any issue, I can call, Charles, and he's immediately on it, always available, and if, making sure that somebody's following up if he doesn't. And we are so blessed. We have so many awesome people in place to make some great things happen with your new position as the business vitality manager, and with the new city manager with John in place, and Dr. Alford with the school district, and with Rick, Mayor Rick,
and Vance Reynolds with the hospital.
It's so exciting, and you can feel it. You can feel the excitement. It's bubbling up, and I can't wait for everything to just start being in place.
Yeah. And folks like you and the city went on a aspirational cities tour last year. You were part of that. In fact, you and I sat together for part of it, and shared some ideas and some thoughts, and found out that my old adage is, if you sit with somebody long enough, you're going to find out that your paths have crossed many times over, either directly or indirectly through family, and that proves true with us too. But the positive things that are going on in the community, the vitality that everybody's showing, the energy and the vision that we're casting now, and you're a big part of that because you've made yourself available. Meybohm's been a part of that. So many of the organizations in town are just so enthusiastic, and you just mentioned a whole slew of new people that are in town taking new positions that are so excited about the future of this town.
Yeah, and it's not that anyone in the past did anything wrong or wasn't. It's just, sometimes the stars just have to align just right, and things come together. And I realized being on that aspirational cities tour, it was almost overwhelming being included, getting to be a part of it. I'm so glad that I took the opportunity to do it. And, I know so many more things will come for that, but if you're exactly right. If you make yourself available to things, it's amazing what opportunities come out of it. So.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this because they don't have the opportunity to know it. But you are you are part of and belong to a number of different organizations. One of which you serve with me on the Aiken Greater Aiken Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors.
Mm-hmm.
You just started that
Yes.
this year. We're proud to have you on that.
Thank
And I'm
you.
so glad you're there.
Thank you.
And we're also proud that you were also named in the Aiken Standard in this publication. You were one of the you were named as the 2016 Young Professionals to Follow, and that's quite a wonderful group.
It is.
It made me feel really good. I knew everybody in there to some degree. I know you more than others, but
Yeah.
It's just nice to know that our community has that kind of, I guess to be real blunt, just to say we've got that kind of bench strength in our young professionals that are coming up that have a good vision for the city, that are working with establishment and working with new people when they come into the community to make our community even a better place to live and work and raise our families.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone in there, I think they can all speak to their families being such a great influence and
Right.
people like you.
Well, you're very kind. One thing I wanted to go into, and I didn't want to let this go, and my wife said, you make sure that you talk about this and get Julie to expound on it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I know one thing that your dad has been so involved with, and I'll tell you, I've been in it before we came back to Aiken in 2008. We were in Atlanta, went to many shows in Aiken,
Mm-hmm.
not in Aiken, but in Atlanta at the Fox Theater and places like that. And came back here, and one of the first things that Patsy and Neil invited us, and we went to
The Heart Show.
And I was blown away with the talent base that took that stage.
Yeah.
And to find out your dad has been so instrumental in making that it is a consummate professional presentation.
Thank
the talent level in there is unbelievable.
Thanks.
But I think the storylines that he comes up with are so incredible. I was just, seriously,
thank
I
you.
was just blown away. And
Thank you.
and this year, it had a patriotic theme to it.
It did.
And that was very well done, and certainly everybody in there did a great job. And you and Brooke get to sing in the same presentation, so
Yeah.
that's kind of a neat thing.
It's fun. It's the Hart family. I mean, we are.
Yeah.
So it's my life. I mean, really and we work on it all year long. We take a break right after February, but yes, my dad writes and directs it,
Mm-hmm.
and he that began right before I was born too. He got
Right.
involved with that, and because it was a talent show at one time,
Yeah.
and so he took it to a different place. But he does it. We always joke it's mindless theater, so you don't have to think much when you go to see it. But it's so fun, and I think it's fun for the audience because we're having so much fun. So it's great, and we're always trying to. He thinks it's really important that we keep the cost of the tickets down because he wants people to come enjoy themselves and have a nice evening out and it not be too expensive. So we are always trying to think of different ways to make more money for Heart. We've I don't remember the number, but we've raised well over $1 million for the American Heart Association since starting. And it can't be done without the Aiken Women's Heart Board and all that they do.
You've got some incredible people that serve on there every year, and it's just when you think about the number of hours that it goes into production for things like that. I've been involved in some things over the years, and I just know what kind of rehearsal time, memorization, all those kind of things, and then not only that, but just the dedication. It
so
really
fun.
takes a lot to do. But everybody seems like they just have a ball doing it.
We do. Well, it's been the same cast,
Yeah.
for so long. So we really are family, and sometimes the most important part to us is what we're going to do after the show together. But it's a great thing, and I was saying we're trying to figure out new ways to make money without, changing a ticket price. So we have the mid-year show as well. So that happens in the summer.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I was given my instructions to find out when the summer one was going
When
to
the
come.
tickets go on
Yeah.
sale. Well, we have a meeting with Jack Benjamin, is
Okay.
the head of the University Theater Department, and some of the Heart Board and my father, and we have a meeting with him on May 5th
Okay.
to determine when they'll go on sale, but it'll probably be at the end of May or beginning of June. And, the mid-year show is 2 nights, and the band that we have is amazing too, with Daryl Raines and Ben Newman and Mark Fairder and
Yeah,
Gary
Mark
Lane-
Mark on the drums.
Garth
Yeah.
Shepard. Yeah, Gary Shepard and Sherry Isles. So
Yeah.
we just do music the mid-year.
Okay.
And the great thing about that is it gives a break a little bit to the Aiken Women's Heart Board. The University Theater Department helps us with that. So you can
Right.
call the university for tickets, the Etheridge Center. And what we love about it is the University Theater Department, the only money that they get for lights, sets, costumes, anything is from their ticket sales and their own personal shows, not from the cultural series, not from any of that. So any money that they need for a scholarship or anything comes from their ticket sales. So first of all, go see their shows, they're amazing, but we split that money with them.
Wow.
So we're able to provide money for the theater department to, maybe provide a scholarship for a promising young actor or singer, and so we're so proud to be able to do that too.
Well, that's just part of a group getting together, giving and giving and giving. And so we thank you for that. Thanks for all the enjoyment that we get from that, the time and the effort. But thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
And giving everybody just a little bit of a glimpse into exactly who Julie is. So when they see you on the street, they'll know exactly who you are. But thank you, Julie, for what you do. Thank you for what Meybohm does, and allowing you to participate in so many different functions within the city. But it's been a pleasure being here with you today.
Thank you
so much,
me.
Julie.
My pleasure.
And we just look forward to you joining us again next week, when we'll have another interesting guest for you to meet. Thank you.
Thank you.